What's up, guys? How's everybody doing this morning? Good morning, Blair. Welcome in. Welcome in, Blair. Gogu Trades. Welcome in again, bro. Let me know, guys, how you've been doing this week. Justin, what's up? Good morning, man. SPX. Good morning in, man. Good morning and welcome in, man. Damien, SMB Financial. What's up? What's up? Isaac, good morning. Welcome in. Go Harali, welcome in. How's everybody's week going? Good afternoon from London. Still morning here on my end. Good morning, good morning. Hope you guys are having a good week. Been going through the charts this morning. Have not traded this week, struggling with this price action. Well, I hope I'm here to help you with that today. It's been an up and down week for sure. We've been basically in a range, so that makes sense. Some people trade better in strong trending markets. Some people trade better when the market's in a range. You just got to learn how to interact in different conditions that the market's in. Good morning, good morning. Welcome, welcome. India, it's time to sleep. Ice latte yesterday, yeah. Ice latte again today, cheers. I'm still rocking my Christmas cup, guys. My Christmas tree cup. It's just straight espresso. I have an espresso machine here, straight espresso and milk and some ice, that's it. It's actually cold here in Florida though. Had some frost this morning. It's in the 30s here, Fahrenheit. I don't know what that is in Celsius for you guys over there in London. But it's cold as far as Florida goes, real cold. Hoodie weather. It's not often I get to wear a hoodie, guys. It's too hot here. Glasses are right here. I don't know why everybody likes these things so much. I do like them. I do like them. So we'll go through the analysis here in just a few minutes. Happy Friday. It's almost the weekend. It's a holiday weekend. Martin Luther King Day, I believe, here in the United States. So markets are closed Monday. Christmas forever. I love Christmas time. It's so fun, especially now that I have kids. It's like even more fun. It's way more fun than being a kid, in my opinion. Being a parent around Christmas time is a lot of fun. Welcome in. Everybody say hi to Shaharam6303. He's new here. Everybody say hello and welcome him in. So huge shout out to our sponsors here on the Chart Fanatics live channel. Funded Next. Use code CF if you guys would like a discount on accounts there. TradeZella as well. I'm a big fan of TradeZella for tracking data. It's a trade journal, but honestly, I feel like that's almost an understatement, right? It's a massive data tracking and analysis tool to help you improve in your trading. It would be difficult for me to be where I'm at without that tool. Apex, of course, use code CF as well if you guys would like a discount on that as well. We will be doing giveaways in the stream today. Prop firm trader, again, I always say this, but there's a ton of work that you guys may or may not be aware of that goes on to make these streams happen, and that's made possible by all these sponsors that we have here on the channel. And also, as a benefit to you guys, we have promo codes here for you to take advantage of these amazing discounts. Always good to see you here, Matt. Thanks, I appreciate that. Let's go. We're gonna get into the analysis here. So let's dive into the analysis here. on, one second. Let's dive into the analysis here. As you guys know, I like to share Bookmap during my live streams. This is my favorite order flow analysis tool. This is what I like to do most of my confirmations and analysis throughout the day, analyzing the market auction in real time. Welcome to the Chart Fanatics multiverse. So we'll go through analysis. I like to start out just on candle charts, looking at price action and market structure, looking at supply and demand, as well as volume profiles, stuff like that. So we'll go through that. I do monitor that throughout the day as well. And we'll go through the game plan that I'll share in the Chart Fanatics Discord. And speaking of, I haven't shared it yet, but I will be writing up my game plan here and scenarios that I'm watching out for. And I'll share that over in the Chart Fanatics Discord. That's a good free resource. If you guys aren't aware, you can join in there for free and connect with other good traders. Myself and the other traders that stream live here on Chart Fanatics share in our channels. So you can check out that if you'd like to see analysis and tips and tricks from us. Again, I'll share my analysis there today and throughout the stream. Let's see here. Yeah, we'll dive into it. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, brother. Welcome in. So let's get into some analysis. If you guys aren't aware, also I forgot to mention, this is the order flow on ES futures. I also look at NQ a bit, but I primarily am in an S&P trader, so I trade ES futures and SPY options. All right. Get my handy dandy little snipping tool here. I like to do this so I can snip my screen and talk through the analysis here, what I'm watching out for. So just zooming way out here, just looking at the daily chart, these boxes that I have down here were some key areas of interest from the order flow. There was a lot of volume built there. And you can see, just looking at the daily chart, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times we've tested kind of this range. Yeah, that we wicked under it a few times and then quickly and very aggressively recaptured. But every single time we've come down to the lows of this range here, we have bounced really aggressively. So this area down here is an area that I continue to watch as like a key area of demand. Again, even on that drop, we made another higher low from the last time we were down there. And then kind of above this line here, right? We see a ton of resistance here really above 7,000. Every time we've popped above 7,000, we were initially breaking highs and rejecting, breaking highs, rejecting, breaking highs, rejecting. And then we sold off pretty nicely back towards the lows of that range. Then we popped up here again yesterday. There was a ton of absorption going on there yesterday. Probably a lot of profit taking. So people that were, long side already, we popped back up in their highs. Pretty clear spot for profit taking. But there was a ton of aggressive buying all morning there. Ultimately led to a nice pullback. But still kind of holding above the 50% of this range. Let me get rid of this stuff now. So just kind of looking at this range that we've been in, we're still kind of well above the 50%. Actually, if I draw a fib on that from the extremes, let me see what's the 50%. This is just for context, guys. It's not like a specific level that I'm trying to take a trade off of or anything. I'm just kind of putting some context together here. Yeah, the 50% of the extremes of this range that we've been in for a couple weeks now is so much glare from my lighting here. Around 69.80. Around 69.80. Welcome in, OFAMZ12. Greetings. First time here again. Everybody say hello. Welcome in. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for spending your Friday morning with us here. We're going to be going through some live trading here on ES, live analysis that I'm sharing here with you guys, what I'm watching out for to trade. We are still a bit in the middle of the range, so I'm going to be pretty careful here. I've ended up having a pretty nice week this week already. And so it's Friday. We don't have too much news or anything today. We do have a Fed member speaking at 11, but it's kind of a medium low impact thing. Always got to watch out for surprises though. Markets are always full of surprises, are they not, guys? Always full of surprises. But we're pretty balanced here overall. Dive in a little bit more analysis here on the 4 hour. Let's take a look. Let me know if you guys have questions throughout the stream as well. I try to do my best to connect with people, answer questions, and make this really educational focused. This is a time for you guys to get really like almost interactive, like one-on-one type question and answer support throughout the stream, right? Way better than just like watching a recorded YouTube video, and you can trade live with someone and learn live, ask questions live. So just looking at the 4 hour, we had a pretty gnarly wick out here under these lows that recaptured. But again, once we've recaptured this, I'm looking for this area to support. If buyers give that zone up here again, that's not looking so hot from my perspective. This is the same stuff as we were just looking at on the daily chart, just looking at it on the 4 hour chart here now. This is this area of resistance kind of above here. Right? Every time we've popped up there, you can see it is not sustained and we've rejected back lower. So that's just a clear resistance point. And so when I come up, it's important to note, guys, when I come up with these levels and context and area of interest, I'm really just coming together with information where I'm going to watch the market auction around and have an understanding of, where, we're likely to trade from there, right? So higher time frame, right? We've been basically ping-ponging between these larger zones basically for a couple weeks now, right? Every time, this is a terrible scribble, apologies, but we see we're mostly trading sideways, right? So we're just having that context in mind. So until proven otherwise, like I don't want to chase shorts down here and I don't want to chase longs up here, right? Until a solid, breakout is occurring. Now, if I see a lot of momentum moving towards one of those, I may, especially now that we're forming this balance here, I may look to capitalize on a short-term quick scalp and just use these extremes as a target. Or I may wait for a failed break of these extremes to use as a point to look to reverse, right? Until proven otherwise, we're likely to keep testing the extremes and keep bouncing back towards the middle. And that's going to probably happen way more times. It's been happening way more times than us truly breaking out, right? And basically what I'm saying is I want to avoid chasing shorts on stuff like this, and I want to avoid chasing longs on stuff like this, right? Because the market is essentially balanced in this higher time frame range. Yeah, I absolutely use Bookmap to look at liquidity and really just, buyers and sellers and how they react, both aggressive buyers and sellers, the delta of them, and passive participants on the heat map where I see, limit orders being filled and placed. So I'm looking at both passive and aggressive participants. So let me just drop this chart, these scribbles that I'm kind of talking through here, and we'll get more and more detailed here on the game plan for the day. But I like to always maintain a good kind of situational awareness of where the market is at overall, where key supply and demand areas are, support and resistance areas are, and key things that are impacting the market. That's going to help me go with the flows of the market when I'm scalping with order flow. I want to position myself to where even as a very short-term scalping trader, I'm positioning myself, with the higher time frame flows that the market is on, right? I'm not trying to fight against it too much. I will take counter trend trades, right? I will do that, and but understand how if and when I do trade counter trend, it impacts how I manage the trade, how I execute the trade. And so it's important to be aware of that. Let's see here. Let's take a look at this now. So most recently, we tried to break out here on the, what was that, CPI news a couple of days ago. Not a lot of volume was transacted there. You could see how it kind of dwindled off on the news. So that was ultimately a failed breakout of the all-time highs, right? Buyers got pretty excited on the news. They chased it into the highs. That got absorbed and reversed pretty aggressively. And that kind of triggered so much downside momentum. We went all the way down and broke down the lows. We saw all of this volume transacted here at the lows, but ultimately also failed to break outside of this range. And buyers then aggressively recaptured this range as well. So above here, really where these really aggressive buyers came in after we consolidated down here at the lows. So this area here is really what I would be looking at for buyers to defend towards the lows. I really wouldn't, if we come all the way back down here to these lows where all this consolidation was, probably going to be very hesitant to try to catch an absolute bottom reversal on that. This is ES Futures S&P 500. This is a 30-minute chart with a volume profile, full day range. So we had this pop here into all-time highs on the CPI news. That ultimately failed and rejected. We retested it again yesterday and built a lot of volume. There was a lot of profit taking there, at a minimum profit taking, meaning passive sellers were selling here into all of this aggressive buying up here. We saw that the first half of the day, a large positive delta over the course of the whole morning essentially, but it was never so aggressive, overtaking all of those passive sellers, that we were able to really break out to all-time highs again. So that ultimately failed. We rejected pretty sharply in the afternoon. We had a nice short squeeze, kind of retracing a lot of those sellers overnight, but again we came back to this area where all of this is getting a little messy. Let me clean this up. All of this volume was transacted, right? These passive sellers that were in here yesterday, and we've again rejected that this morning. So that's important context to have right here, right? So I'm looking at this as kind of like a supply area. Just put an S. Let me do a red S. Right, so I'm looking at this as a supply area. There's a lot of passive sellers in there. We've already rejected down from there. We've already retested it and rejected off there again. Oh, there's a lot of buying that just came in, just caught my attention. We got about 8 minutes till the open, right? So if aggressive sellers are going to be successful, I would like to see them, I would like to see them reject pretty quickly off that. Right? And to the downside, I'd be looking at this kind of volume cliff area above this demand to target. We have prior lows there, right? So that's a key spot to the downside. If we drop down here, then I kind of like this area to start watching to see if buyers step in again, especially between like 50s and 65s. If I see significant action from buyers there, I may be looking to long it, targeting it back, bounce back up in the middle. Now, in the middle of this range, kind of, let me do a different color here. In the middle of this range, I'm not loving much. Right? So around there. I'm not loving much in the middle of this. Not loving much in the middle of this. Now, we have bulls are clearly over the higher time frames, daily, 4 hour, etc., are still maintaining control. So if sellers are not able to reject pretty quickly off this like 7,000 to 7,005 area, and bulls recapture that again, we may see this area of absorption, this passive selling, be kind of saturated and exhausted, and bulls may be successful in breaking that out. So if bulls kind of sustain and recapture above like 7,000 to 7,005 area, I may be interested in scalping that to the long side if an opportunity sets up, and targeting these highs into 70.15s, possibly 70.20s, possibly all-time highs if buyers get super excited and aggressive here. So the main thing I'm watching here essentially is if we pop back up into the 7,000 area, if price is accepted above there and buyers show a lot of strength to kind of break and retest and show momentum on a breakout above 7,000, possibly look to get long, targeting 70.15, 70.20. However, if sellers again reject this area of supply, ideally strongly in the first hour or so, then I'd like to possibly scalp that short, targeting, you know, a break of one of these prior lows under 88s, under 80s, and then ultimately down here towards 75s to 60s. If we get a nice aggressive sell-off that drops to the lows of these range and I don't participate in it short for whatever reason, I'll be cautiously observing to see if we again absorb sellers at the bottom of this range, possibly scalp it long back towards the middle. Does that make sense to you guys? So a few different scenarios here, but it is Friday going into a holiday weekend. We are kind of in the middle of the range, so I would highly encourage caution and patience here this morning, guys. And again, just looking at the 4 hour chart, right? Simply looking at the 4 hour chart here. We have this area that, you know, roughly been supported, this area that's roughly been resisted, and you can see we're kind of forming like a pennant here in the middle, right? So even just purely looking at like a 4 hour chart here, not ideal to partake in the middle, at least for me. JTR Banks said, Matt, could you please show your absorption setup on Bookmap? Do you mean the absorption indicator on Bookmap, or do you just mean trade setup in general? Indicator? Sure. I tinker with this a little bit. So I leave it on the automatic mode, to be honest with you, and I have the standard deviation set to 30 minutes. I would adjust the standard deviation multiplier a little bit. If it's triggering too much, I'll increase it. If it's not triggering very much, I'll decrease it. I don't really use this as like an indicator for trade entries or anything like that, guys. I just kind of have it on if it brings my attention to some interesting activity that I missed. Like say I wasn't paying attention or something. I look back like, oh, some above. The reason I like it on the automatic too, the standard deviation, is like what if I set it to like a fixed contract size, then that's not necessarily showing me, you know, what's abnormal based on the current market conditions, right? So it's not something that's like I have highly precise setup that I use as a indicator for my trade entries or anything like that. I don't. my entries are based purely on looking at the order flow and doing the analysis for myself. There's patterns and things that I look for. However, that is like a little cheat sheet, little cheat code indicator to show me when some large orders hit. So 2 minutes till the open here. Again, we're kind of middle range here for me, guys. The two, we're right near 7,000 here off this open. So the main things that I'm watching, if there's a lot of strength on a breakout over 7,000 that then holds pullbacks above there, and I see a lot of momentum from buyers, then I'll possibly look to scalp that, targeting, like prior day highs, 70.15s. Will you ever take a long from trap selling and no aggressive buying? How important is Hector? How do you know the selling is trapped? If you're just seeing large aggressive selling at lows. I don't like to guess and try to fade against large aggressive participants at an absolute high or an absolute low. Yes, you can catch some big time bottoms like that, but you'll also have a very low win rate and get stopped out many, many times. You want to see signs as early as possible especially when it aligns with context at a key location, right? Below a prior low, above a prior high, at a key supply or demand area, etc. I would like to see, on the heat map, large bids absorbing them, right? Those aggressive sellers. And I'd like to see aggressive buyers begin to come in and trap those participants, right? I'm not trying to come in with my couple lots and catch the absolute bottom of the market, right? Because how do we know that aggressive selling is not going to keep coming in and just completely break it down? Right? So I like to find confirmations from aggressive participants to start the reversal that have way bigger size than I do. And then I like to, once that begins, as early as possible, as I can identify with order flow, the confirmations of, trapped participants, aggressive buying coming in, trapping those participants. And then I find, pullbacks to get in where I can just, get in with that with very, very minuscule risk, right? But I would caution you against just thinking you see large absorption one way or the other and trying to catch the absolute bottom or the absolute top. Because ultimately, it is large aggressive participants that move the market. It's not the passive participants that move the market. So yeah, we can see passive participants step in and do some absorption, but it's the aggressive participants that will ultimately move price up or down. Right? So if you get yourself in the habit of just trying to catch the absolute bottom or the absolute top because you saw a lot of absorption, that can work sometimes, but it can also lead to a lot of paper cuts. It's best to, and if you do that, then combine, it would be, here's some aggressive buying coming in. If you do that, then make sure you're probably going to have to play higher time frames with wider stops and things like that. It would be hard to do that with just scalping. And then 2, make sure you're doing that at locations that make sense, right? At least a key area of supply or demand, a key high or low. You don't want to just see, large absorption here in the middle of nowhere. This is the top or this is the bottom. Maybe, but probably not. Does that help? So we're still flirting right around the 7,000 level. See what we see here. it's just still looking, middle of the range here for me, guys. We have some great questions here, though. I think this is valuable for everyone to learn from. Right, something asked, is this gold? No, this is ES futures. There is a lot of people asking about gold these days. It seems like that's the new hotness. Everybody's on trading gold. I'll start looking at it more, but I primarily just trade the S&P. Yeah. Let me know if you guys have questions. Let me know in the chat and I'll continue going through it, especially while we're just playing in the middle of the range here. When we start getting near a trade setup, I want to lock in, but go through and teach you guys as many things as can. Throw up a 30-minute chart over here just to maintain perspective. Right, so we're just building volume in this range here between 7,000 and 90 down here at these lows, really inside of where all this volume was transacted yesterday too. Again, watching out for sellers to reject at these highs up here, or if buyers are able to kind of break through and recapture. There is some aggressive selling here. A few hundred lots of aggressive selling came in around 98, but again, nothing too substantial. We can see it over here on the DOM actually cumulative in this range here. We're seeing 400, 300 something lots of aggressive selling. So we'll see if these guys get absorbed from passive buyers and we now start to try to break out 7,000, or if these aggressive sellers really mean business to reject back under these 7,000s. It's very choppy here right now. I'm staying patient. ABKRCH said, how do you find setups in this, because this is looking very choppy? It's looking choppy to me too, and I'm staying patient and chilling here. We're in the middle of a range, so I'm chilling. We'll see what develops here. Like I said, I'm watching to see if buyers are strong back over these 7,000s, 7,005s. I'm cautiously watching to see if that momentum can carry us into the 70-15, 70-20s. However, if we pop up here into like 7,000, 7,005, especially we pop over these overnight highs and reject aggressively back under 7,000, then that's a telltale sign of weakness in the supply area up here. Very, very important, right, to not take dumb trades, right? We all know that, but it's tough when you're in the moment here watching price and you like start to overanalyze things because you're like wanting to make money every day. You're wanting to take trades, okay? But That is not how money is made in trading. Here's some large aggressive selling coming in, right? We can all take good trades and make money from time to time, but a huge differentiator between professionals that consistently make money in this game is the ability to avoid unnecessary losses and avoid impulsiveness and stay patient and disciplined when there's not opportunity. So how often are you able to just sit back and stay cash, right, without clicking buttons? That is a major differentiator between an amateur and a professional in this game. Starting to see some larger aggressive selling step in. You see we popped into those highs above these sellers again, failed, and now the 600 lot negative delta is built here at the 97.25s. Let me move this now. You have this anchored VWAP level here. Still middle of the range here. Let me show you my footprint chart here on Intraday with volume profile on the side. You can see how we've just built all this volume in this range. We've got VWAP right there. So we're just kind of oscillating that around the 7,000 level, building all this volume, consolidating here, right? When I see on footprint charts, these are 5-point range bars, guys. So it's not specifically time-based, but I'll tell you, when I see a price just kind of grinding in a channel like this on ES, you know, it's not ideal conditions to try to catch a trade until that really breaks. Because when we have a nice, you know, imbalanced move, the 5-point range bars will look like this, where we're not like kind of breaking one way or the other. You can see how we kind of had these lows here, held them, and then we had these lows here, did not hold them, right? This is what I mean. We're not really holding above too well, right? So when you have a nice imbalanced move, it will kind of move without, you know, chopping around in a channel like this on 5-point range bars. That's just a little tip to watch out for. When I see a kind of a channel grinding in 5-point range bars like that, then I look to chill. This is looking a little weak here to me at the present moment. Buyers are looking a little tired here. Sellers are looking a little more aggressive, which is interesting because the cumulative volume delta is positive, almost 2,500 here. So kind of similar to what we saw yesterday morning, which was there was a lot of aggressive buying, but it was just kind of tired. It wasn't carrying into new highs with a lot of excitement. Now we're down under those 95s. So if we see this break and a little pop here, then I may like this for that short setup, kind of a failed rejection of 7,000. Target back into the lows under the 85s to prior day close area. So maybe like 80s to 85s area could be a nice target. It's a little tough because ultimately though, we're just kind of still in this range where we're consolidating a lot here this morning. But definitely seeing some weakness here if we see some pops now fail. If I see some with this aggressive selling that's come in here, if I now see kind of a pop and back up into here with some weak buying and offers appearing and passively selling to them too, kind of like we saw here, see this larger aggressive selling coming in, then I may be interested in scalping that short. Speculating we go back down, break into the 80s. But that's a little, I would still say that's kind of, you know, it's developing, but it's kind of B quality here. Just the location is not, it's kind of middle of the range. So on a trade like that, if I do take it, I do understand that it's a little bit lower quality. It's kind of B quality location. Even if we see A quality trade confirmations, entry confirmations, the location is kind of B quality. And so I'll weigh that into account with the size that I take on the trade and also my trade management. I look to just kind of be in and out quick on a scalp on it, not looking for everything. Yeah, guys, if you appreciate this kind of in-depth analysis real time, it helps us out a ton. If you like and subscribe on the channel, turn on notifications if you guys would like to be notified when traders go live on here. If you'd like to analyze order flow with me, learn to trade like this and trade live, I'm on here on Fridays on Chart Fanatics. This is pretty slow, guys. I think I like kind of the weakness that I'm seeing here. I do like this little weak pop here. It just feels kind of slow, which is making me a little hesitant to trade in this. When I see price very slow and very choppy, especially being in the middle of the range in the first 15 to 30 minutes of the day, it's not looking fun to me. It may just kind of grind here and then just kind of fall off a cliff, and I just won't catch it. I just don't have a trade set up. Just because the market moves doesn't mean you have a trade set up, guys. We'll see if we have a trade setup. That's a good setup. That's clean. Clean location, clean confirmations. Great. Yeah, it's looking weak to me here. It's been looking weak. I just didn't really have a nice entry for it with nice risk and stuff that I wanted to trade it. And it was just kind of slowly grinded down here and just, I don't know. Wasn't a setup that I look for taking a trade. Even though I see the weakness kind of here. I see the weakness here. It's just, you know, again, I don't really see the confirmations and things that I look for to take an execution on it. And on top of that, we're still very much in the middle of the range here, which makes it even more so like I want to be careful. Well, look at that. You have a lot of clarity. It's too messy. The platform's too messy for you. Yeah, to each their own. I look at this, but I'm also looking at footprint charts. I'm looking at candle charts as well for context. This is the best overall tool for me to analyze the order flow that I use for, you know, entry confirmations and context. It's the real-time market auction of buyers and sellers. But over here, I'm also looking at this, guys. So just looking at a 15-minute chart here, right? This is why I'm like, do you want to, this is why I was ultimately hesitant too there, right? Despite seeing the weakness, it's like, do you want to go short there right at the lows of this not ideal. So on the next stream, maybe I'll find a way to have us, you know, maybe I'll replace this DOM with a small chart for you guys that like to see just the chart as well. Would that be beneficial for you guys? Here, let me do this. Is that beneficial for you guys? It's a 30-minute chart on ES futures. You guys able to see that? You could do like a 15. Whoa. How's that? You guys like that? It's not how I normally have my screen set up, but I don't have, somebody asked, Shahara asked, I'd like to get your opinion on the first candle rule. I don't really have any first candle rule, so I can't really give an opinion on that. I've done no testing on that. I think people have some setups around that. They look for like ORB setups, opening range breakout. I don't really have much of anything for that. There are momentum type setups that I look to trade in the morning, right? That often kind of align with ORB type setups that people look at, but I'm looking at the market auction and the order flow. I don't have like I look for this candle to close within this minute range, and then I look for a breakout out of it and a retake. No, I don't have that. So continuing to see passive sellers in, so look at this spot. This aggressive seller came into the 97s here. And that was kind of the first large selling on this little, price leg here where we dropped under 7,000. And now we just popped, we shot up there, and right here where all this aggressive buying came in was just under, just kind of in this range here around VWAP, where we had a larger passive seller sell to them. But it's still, I'm just observing all this and developing this for what happens next. But ultimately we are still very, very flat here. And it's, I caution people over analyzing price like this when, one, we're not at a key area, we're just in the middle of a range. And so see my Sierra chart, footprint chart here, guys, you can see, there's a lot of buying here. There's been a lot of selling up here, right? There was pretty aggressive buying right here, but then we see how that aggressive buying got absorbed by a passive seller there. So it's just kind of up and down here, right? And that's why we're building this bell curve of volume, right? So not ideal to be playing here when we just have a bell curve of volume built up. It's still looking weak to me. I just don't, have much right now for it. We saw the passive seller again defend. Look at this positive delta here, right? So the cumulative volume delta. So there's a lot more aggressive buyers than sellers, yet price has kind of continued to make higher lows. So what does that tell us? Similar to yesterday, there's a lot of passive selling. Similar to yesterday morning, there's a lot of passive selling. However, if that passive selling relents and aggressive buying still keeps coming in, we may break out over this, right? We just got to see the reaction of what happens next. But, right now, what I'm thinking is it's looking weak because of the amount of aggressive buying that's come in and has not managed to really lift price at all. So to me, that's just saying, if any aggressive selling starts to come in, these buyers could be very exhausted. They've been absorbed for a while now here in the first 20 minutes since the 9:30 bell. And so all of these aggressive buyers up here could become trapped and start stopping, which they would then have to become sellers and break this thing down. But we need more aggressive selling to come in to trigger that. Yeah, I consider, Blair asked, do you consider 7,000 a key level? Anytime there's a key whole number, it's like a psychological thing. People place orders around it. But then also just, we've clearly seen just watching the tape how price has resisted pops above 7,000 for the last couple weeks. So now some heavier, more aggressive selling is continuing to come in. We're essentially still in the pre-market range though. That's been going on since like 6 a.m. So from like 6 a.m. to 7:45 a.m. Eastern, we have just been chopping up and down in the same range. This is looking weak though. Like I've been saying all morning, I just don't have a setup for it right now. So looking at, again, this 15-minute chart here, this is what I was talking about. Since this little drop here, we've basically just been chopping in this range. Selling is starting to get aggressive now. So we'll see if we kind of break these lows. Sellers could really... Yeah, no FOMO, no pressure. We're chilling here, guys. At least I am. If you have a setup, you take it, right? And manage your risk. But, make sure whenever you take a trade, do you have a defined setup for that? Is that something you can repeat day in and day out? You don't just buy and sell because you think the market's going to go up, think the market's going to go down. Even as a very discretionary order flow trader like I am, I still try to be as systematic as possible. So I'm repeating, I'm taking named setups that I look for, repeatable trades that I look for. I'm not just over analyzing this or that, click and buy or sell at, a whim. Similar to yesterday, just a lot of buying here and a lot of not going higher. So weakness is still continuing to come in. We're kind of breaking these lows now. If we start to get some real excitement here from sellers and we get a pop, I may be interested in shorting that there. See where all this aggressive buying was, and we broke down. So passive sellers are up here. Now we're starting to see some momentum from these aggressive sellers. Yeah, I have that in mind too. Somebody said, CalRaw33 said, if buyers don't step up, could test yesterday's lows. Yeah, I have yesterday's lows in my eye. Regular trading hours lows around the 69.75s, and that key demand area that I've been watching kind of around 69.65 to 69.55. Both of those I have my eye on. But again, I'd like to see a quick pop with some, weaker buying get sold into by passive sellers. If it just dies now and just goes straight for it, it is what it is. We've kind of taken the overnight lows here, testing near yesterday's close where buyers stepped in. Buyers stepped in around yesterday's close. Kind of held that drop from going any further. Yeah, Asia lows right around prior day close. Yeah, it's one of those, you got to be at peace with missing moves that aren't yours. If you don't have a setup for it, an entry for it, a planned setup, a planned thing for it with context and everything, then it's just not your move. You didn't miss it. You didn't have a trade for it. You don't miss it when the market just goes up and down. You miss it if you have a planned trade, right? And you just fail to do your part to execute it. But if you don't have an entry confirmation and you don't have, a planned setup for it, the market's just moving. You didn't miss it. You didn't miss anything. That's the wrong mindset. That's going to put you in the FOMO mindset to take dumb trades. 90% of the time, the market just moves up and down and we didn't miss anything. It's just moving. We don't have a setup for it. It's important that we're ready to execute when we do have a setup, when we do have confirmations, all of that stuff. And again, just because I didn't see the setup that I like to trade here doesn't mean you don't, right? So everybody's got their own different way. So if you did see something and you caught it, fantastic, but make sure if you do that, if you did trade and you did take a trade, make sure you can define, what it is that you were trading. And you're not just, buying and selling at random. If you just buy and sell at random and you make a bit of money, great, I'm happy for you, but it's not going to produce positive results over the long term. So focus on producing positive results over the long term. So I will take a look at this, guys. Remember what I was talking about earlier when I said when an imbalance occurs, I like to see more of a direct move. So look at the footprint chart here. See how before we were not really holding, we were kind of just grinding in that channel. I could extend that over. And then we kind of broke out of that. And then once we had this pop, in hindsight, that was the initiation of the break out of this balance range here. And we see right there is where that large passive seller absorbed that pop. And that was the last one before we had a nice price leg down. And you can see all of this continued large aggressive selling, passive selling, and large aggressive selling continuing to come into these lows and drive price down. Again, I would have liked to see that, and then I would have liked to see kind of a sharp drop, enter, and then get a retest. In hindsight here, now looking at it, this was kind of the break, and this was kind of the retest, and that was the passive seller defending it. So it did happen. This was really kind of slow and grindy when it happened, and then by the time it started moving down, I just didn't really want to chase it down any lower, just in terms of risk versus reward, what I would be looking to target. So this is an interesting move, right? It's just kind of a slow, steady grind down here. But just for educational purposes and analysis purposes, when I see a balance area form like this is one thing that I would like to see is a break out of it with some large aggressive selling, which we did see here, and a pop that gets defended by passive sellers. So we see the large delta right there. Ultimately, that did get defended, and we've sold off down from there. But look at this. This is a very interesting move. I don't see this type of thing too often. How we have just like gone kind of a straight down grind there with like no pop or anything. I was really like, once I saw that and I saw that weakness under there, I wanted to see some kind of pop or something to go short, and it is what it is. It's just moving down. I didn't have a setup. Interesting, huh? So we're going down to these prior day lows down here. Regular trading hours lows from yesterday, sitting around 69, 74, 75. So we're coming down to where like I don't really want to chase shorts. Coming down to the lows of this higher time frame range that we've been in. VX breaking higher. Yeah, let me switch over my charts here. VX is starting to get a little elevated. NQ's pretty weak too. Hey, what's up, Robot? Welcome in. So we didn't quite take out those regular trading hours prior day lows. We're starting to see some aggressive buying step in here. Kind of small, nothing like convincing for me to take a trade. But sometimes this happens where the market just kind of grinds straight down and then it just kind of starts grinding straight back up, and there's not really anything significant that's worth taking a trade. That happens sometimes. Can I see if there's a big passive order on NQ 25,675? Down below price. So it looks like on NQ there's some more aggressive buying than what I'm seeing here on ES, by the way. NQ is looking relatively stronger. This looks kind of relatively stronger here on NQ, but still weak overall. Let me know in the chat, what are you guys looking at? Have you guys taken any trades? Are you looking long? Are you looking short? Or are you staying cash? Let me know in the chat. No trades, cash. Shorted at 935, got wicked out. Ah, that's frustrating, man. Staying cash, sidelines, wait for a pullback. That's good. It's good to see so many people have the discipline to sit back and do that. I'll tell you what, when you have the confidence in your own trading to know what you're looking for and have the ability to see the market move and say, this just isn't what I'm looking for, and stay cash, that is a superpower in trading, and you're well on your way to being a very good, profitable trader if you can do that. Shorted at 951. So it'll be interesting after this straight down move if we just kind of grind it straight back up again. It's a lot of aggressive buying stepping in. We never really fully took out. We're a couple ticks above regular trading hours lows from yesterday, around 69.74, 75. Eric Segura said, ideally, I'm looking to see yesterday's lows taken out, then recaptured, targeting the pre-market consolidation. Yeah, I would say that's a valid setup. Just looking at the overall higher time frame, range that we've been in, I would also be interested in that setup. Starting to see some large absorption here, possibly. Be interesting if a passive seller defends here, where this large aggressive selling was earlier. right around these 85s where this aggressive selling was earlier. You can see it on the heat map here, passive offer sitting here. The bottom of that high volume balance range that we were in this morning is around 90. So, you know, if sellers are going to continue here to drop price under the prior day lows, now that we're kind of breaking under this range, you ideally want to see sellers defend there, under there. Right, and we see this little low volume area here too, lower volume right there. So it'd be interesting to see if sellers reject here. If they do, and I see some good confirmations, this may be now interesting to take this short and still target those regular trading hours lows under the 75s from yesterday. More offers stacking up here around the 88s. It's kind of slow, so it's a little tough here. Starting to see some aggressive selling coming back in. Tough read when it's just so slow. Also want to be cautious again, going into a holiday weekend. Think about going into a holiday weekend on a Friday, more and more participants are going to be sidelined. So if we see very low volume volatility, it's likely that you could continue going into the end of the day into a holiday weekend. So it looks like 43% of you guys are with me staying cash right now. Slightly leaning in favor of shorts for those that have traded. Looks like about on par with what we're seeing here. There's a lot of aggressive buying into this range here. Looking at my footprint chart here, there's a lot of aggressive buying right here. Kind of getting absorbed by a passive seller. But we'll see. I'd like to see like something that, you know, really stands out, like a large delta. If we pop one more time, sweep through these offers, and a large offer fills, something that's going to really catch my attention, that, you know, is going to show the hand. Do like this aggressive selling starting to step in here now. Do like this aggressive selling starting to step in here now. I'm going to try it. I'm in short at 84. Saw all that aggressive absorption, the aggressive selling come in after all this absorption up here in this range. So just have a stop up here over like 86, 87. It's kind of got to go like right now. I want to see this come in and trap these sellers, or sorry, these buyers up here at this high. Otherwise, I'm going to cut it pretty immediately for a small loss. Targeting a break under 75s. So about 10, 12 points. If this selling just dies here though, then I'm going to take it off very quickly. Very nice entry, Robot. I wanted to see a little bit more proof from aggressive sellers before I tried to catch it there. I don't like how this is just fizzling here. Really want to see some aggressive selling step in with some larger size. There it goes. All right, I'm gonna go break even here fast. If this jumps and sweeps me out, I'll look to, re-enter at a better price. Again, I'm in at 84. I know it's barely moved in my direction. It's just, I really want to see a waterfall of selling come in, indicating that these buyers were trapped here. If we just pull back here and shoot back up through 84s, I just don't love it. This is ES Futures, S&P 500. And this is the kind of the tough thing that makes me really iffy when price is really kind of slow and grindy like this, as far as managing risk. This thing's gonna come sweep me out, break even. I'm not gonna hold it for a loss here. If the selling just dies out here, yeah, I'm out, break even. It may just sweep me out here and then drop, but I'm just, I'm not vibing with this large aggressive selling coming in and it just stalling. So just looking at this here, guys, this is what I'm talking about. I didn't like seeing this like 700 lot negative delta come in here, and then we just didn't drop anywhere from it. This may have, I may be too tight on this, and this may just pop and then now drop. But I liked seeing all this absorption up here, and then, I was going with the selling, speculating we would see faster, larger, aggressive selling, and we just didn't. We're just kind of grinding too slowly. So unfortunate if that just popped and stopped me out to the tick almost and didn't pop any higher for me to get a better entry. Likely what happened. We'll see. But seeing that much selling come in, after my entry up here, I really wanted to see that continue like immediately. And it's just grinding so slowly. Yeah, I definitely do. So Kalra 33 brought up a good point. I do love that as far as looking at both instruments. He was saying looking at NQ and ES and looking to short the weaker instrument. That is better to do. That's something I want to do more of this year is start actively trading NQ. I go through periods where I have traded NQ more, but yeah, I think it is typically better, like especially if you're looking for a short setup, to go with the weaker instrument, or vice versa if you're looking at the long side, if you're looking at the two like ES and NQ. So what I liked here is as we popped up into this range, I liked seeing all this aggressive buying coming in again and again and again. You see up here, 200 lots, 200 lots, up here, 200, 200, 200. So there was a lot of aggressive buying right into the lows of that, right? Man, this may have just got me out, guys, to almost to the tick. But, seeing this massive selling come in on that drop, I was really looking for that to trigger pretty immediately. And so once I saw that and we were dropping, I went break even here. And I may have been a little too tight with that one because my original stop was like right up here around 87. I was basically up 1-to-1 on the trade. So I was up 1-to-1 and moved it break even, looking for a break under these lows, which would have been 2-3R. But it popped that one time, just enough to get me out to the tick, right? If my stop was 3 ticks higher, I would have still been in. That's unfortunate. That got me, guys. It was just a little too slow and grindy. There it goes. Managed it a little too tightly. I was looking for it to go a little bit more immediately based on seeing this large aggressive selling that came in, and it chopped around just a little too much for my liking. Good trade setup. That was a good trade setup. My management of it was a little questionable there, too tight. I should have been a little bit more patient probably, but I kind of lost confidence in it, seeing all this large aggressive selling that failed to break price any lower, and we kind of just popped and grind. It's a little tricky. And that's kind of one thing that I was saying. I think I was saying this like shortly before I took that trade, is it's a little tricky to read when it's just kind of so slow and grindy. It's a little tricky. It made me uncomfortable with the trade, how slow and grindy it was, I think is what it was. I'll have to review that one. It is what it is. It is what it is. Next setup. We do have giveaways upcoming, guys. Do have giveaways coming up. In fact, let me ask Anthony, are you ready to run the giveaways while we watch this? Nice. I'm glad some people caught it. So what I liked about the setup is just how we were retesting the lows of that balance range area. So like around 87 to 91 that we broke down earlier. And I liked how we still had not really taken out the prior day regular lows under 75s. So that target was still kind of valid to me. And I liked seeing all the aggressive buying up into there that stalled. It just, and then I waited to see for my entry. Again, like I was talking about somebody with absorption earlier, we saw the absorption occurring here. I wasn't quite so ready here to take it until I saw aggressive selling come in. And I did see it right here at 84s. So I went with it, and then seeing us, then break that down with that aggressive, I was up 81s. So I was up 1-to-1 on the trade. And then after seeing this large aggressive selling come in, that is kind of what I was looking at to say, okay, I really would, for this to be a really A+ trade, I know once I see this, price should move. And if we don't and we fail, it's likely we're going to sweep back up into this area where this absorption was, and I can look to re-enter. In this instance, it's just one of those unfortunate ones where it bounced back, took me out to the tick basically, and not any higher for me to get a better entry. It is what it is. No, if we had dipped lower under prior day lows already into that key demand area already, once a target is hit for a trade, I'm less likely to take the trade. All right, so let me pull this up. Are you guys ready to run some giveaways? We've got the free accounts to give away from Apex, Funded Next, Alpha Capital. So if you guys are interested in that, this is some aggressive buying step in. We did we traded at 74.25. So we traded under prior day lows by a couple ticks, and some massive orders hit here, right here. Aggressive sellers, passive buyers. Interesting. All right, guys. So in the chat, if you guys want to run these giveaways, smash the like button for free account giveaways. That helps us out a ton on the channel. Appreciate you guys doing that. And we will run the giveaways here momentarily. Look at that. Wow. So we just barely hit under those 75s and jumped all the way back. This is exactly why I was so kind of, I guess you could say, risk averse with that trade, is just kind of these conditions, how it's slow. Look at that. Instantly, we dropped down there to what I was looking to target. If you didn't flatten like on the tick, shot straight back out for a stop hunt. Wow. Yeah, these exact conditions are why I was very quick on the trigger with the break even and very risk averse. Very much like that. All right, let's run the giveaways, guys. So in the chat, enter one time and one time only, exclamation point tape reader. And if you enter that more than one time, you will not be selected. We're gonna run some account giveaways. Exclamation point tape reader to be entered for the giveaways here, guys. Look at that. Wow. All the way back up into that range that we spotted there. That same dang spot. Nasty pop if you're in short, but look at that. The same thing that I was looking to short earlier, it just retested there, rejected again. That's looking pretty weak for me now. I would be surprised if we don't go down to that 55 to 65 range now. All right, we're gonna close it in just a minute here. Give people a chance. Exclamation point tape reader in the chat. All right, Anthony, let's close it. This is very thin. And what I mean by thin is there's just not a lot, too much like large significant orders, and prices kind of whipping up and down. All right, guys, all entries are in. I'm gonna get the list from Anthony here. Our man, the myth, the legend in the background, making all these gears turn seamlessly for our streams. All right, all entries are in, guys. Let's run this. as we watch price kind of whip up and down here. You guys got to be fast, right? You guys got to be fast if we're doing these giveaways. So be ready to respond. Trading HM8KP. Let me know if you're in here. Trading HM8KP. Congratulations. Damien made a quick $300. Awesome, man. Great job. I hope you did it in a way that you can repeat day in and day out, not YOLOing up and down. Is he in the chat? There he is. All right. Congratulations. Head over to the Chart Fanatics Discord. It's free to join if you haven't already. And you can go into the giveaways tab to go ahead and claim that. Congratulations. On to the next one. Yeah, this thing is still looking weak, guys. It's still looking weak. Xavier Tavares 7343. Xavier Tavares, if you're in here, let me know. There he is. Congratulations, Xavier. You have won the Funded Next account. Again, like I said, head over to the Chart Fanatics Discord, to the giveaways channel in there to claim it. Congratulations. All right, we got one more here. This thing is still looking weak, man. I don't see much, at least until we drop down to like 69, 65s, 55s area. I don't see much in the way of support until we drop down at least to 65s to 55s, which are about 10 to 20 points off that. Clipper, let me know if you're in the chat. Congratulations, Clipper. There he is. Congratulations, Clipper. You've won the Alpha Capital account. Again, head over to the Chart Fanatics Discord to claim that. Congratulations to everybody that won those accounts. Again, we do the giveaways just about every stream here. So if you didn't win, make sure you tune into the future streams here on Chart Fanatics Live. Turn on notifications so you don't miss them. Thanks for tuning in. So the main thing that I'm watching here, guys, is just on this, if we continue to drop down into the low of this higher time frame range that we've been in, around 69, 65 to 55, if I see significant support yet again from aggressive buyers down there, I may be interested in scalping that long back to the upside. But this is continuing to look pretty weak here. So I'm not looking to step in front of the weakness until buyers are able to really prove that they've shifted structure back and taken control again. Otherwise, this is continuing to look weak. I just don't see good opportunity as far as shorting the lows here. Look at, so we retested this key area, right? This is where I tried it short here. Got stopped break even, that's okay. It did pop right back into that same range. Look, no coincidence here, guys. Do you see this? This is where this large passive sellers defended. And if we look at the volume profile, do you guys see this little dip in the volume profile here where we broke that right here? Look where we retested, and we also broke these prior lows here, but we saw that. This is why I was watching that spot to go short here from like 90 to like 87, right? We knew there was very aggressive sellers there looking to defend. They did defend. Unfortunately, I got chopped out this time, but we did pop into it one more time and again rejected. Once we rejected that second time, that's looking pretty weak for me. I didn't catch that. I was talking through the giveaways there. Let's see what happened here. Yeah, as we popped into here, look at the passive orders popping in here, and then aggressive selling swept it down, rejected pretty fast. There was a very small window of time to take that re-entry there. And we're breaking down the lows now. Just in terms of risk versus reward, I don't see much for chasing shorts down here for me. Remember, like I said, since the beginning of the stream, I'm not, if I see a good pop into a key area, I'm interested in taking that short. But I'm not interested in just in terms of risk versus reward, I'm not interested in chasing shorts into the lows. Gold is melting. Yeah, it's looking pretty weak overall. Everything's looking weak. VX is now breaking over the overnight highs right now, around 16.5, 16.6. Nicole said, thanks. Thank you, Nicole, for tuning in. Yeah, this was the best setup that I saw so far today, and that was the one that I attempted on. Unfortunate situation just to get chopped out of it by a couple ticks, and is what it is. This thing is melting. Again, just because the market is moving does not mean we have a setup. Yeah, Rhoda Jazz said, Matt, and check yesterday's low volume node. Yeah, so this is aligning with that area that I was talking about that I'm watching. If we continue to drop. So let me a second here, guys. Again, this is my 30-minute chart with the volume profile here. So we had this area where we based out around 55 and then rallied out of it up here to around 65. So this is an area of interest for me. We may just melt through this, right? This is very weak, but this is an area of interest that I'd watch, to possibly see if it gets defended very aggressively, to at least just scalp it back to the middle here. Again, that's the same thing I talk about in the pre-market game plan. The trade that I was watching this morning, this trade, again, neither of these are random. I've been talking about these since the pre-market here. And this is kind of that same range here that I was talking about that I'm watching. Just looking at a 15-minute chart here. Again, we may just do something random here. Oh, some aggressive buying is coming in. Wow. Came just a couple points. I'd rather see a little bit more dip into there. I'm not trying to catch an absolute bottom also. I want to be clear with that. Like, if I look for this setup, I'm not trying to just like go long at the absolute low into that area. Do you follow finish and unfinished auction on the lows? Yeah, it's something I look at. I mainly look at that on my footprint chart to see like what orders transacted there. Good questions. 1 minute fair value gap. Rock on. Dr. Justin, I love these Friday streams. Keep joining in, man. Appreciate you tuning in. Pop into prior day low for continuation. It's a possibility. It's a possibility. In my opinion, we've squeezed a lot of the juice already on the downside move, as far as, you know, coming to the lows of this higher time frame range that we've been in. Again, same thing I've been talking about all morning. So like, I'm not trying to chase what's already happened. You know, tried to catch it a bit, missed it, not missed it, but I caught it, but I was a little maybe too protective on the stop, maybe not, maybe that protects me 9 times out of 10 in choppy conditions, based on how I read the confirmation for the trade. Even if I didn't get chopped out initially and I held for a break of the lows, this probably would have got me out here too. I don't think I would have held through that. Could have re-entered once that failed. It's easy to armchair quarterback it in hindsight, right? But it is important to review what we did and what we can do better each trade. Yeah, a lot of weakness. We're now coming down into that 65 to 55 range. So need to watch this here. Especially, one thing that is tough about trying to like look for a bottom reversal and stuff, like the later and later it gets into the day here on a Friday going into a holiday weekend, is more and more territory that I don't like to trade. Institutional trading action. I mean, now, if you see an unfinished auction, would you go long on aggressive buying? Possibly. It would just be one of a few confluences that I would want to see, right? I definitely don't want to just go long at the first sign of buying down here. I definitely want to see a few confluences. And, you know, if we just hit it and shoot like a rocket ship right back up without, you know, some good confluences, then I'm just not going to trade it. Straight up. You know, I don't want to be a first buyer against this much weakness, even if we're dropping into an area of demand. I also don't want to be a late seller chasing the move to the downside without good risk versus reward, without good juice to squeeze as far as target on the trade. A great trade for me is when, you know, things align both in terms of risk versus reward and, you know, win rate, high probability. And so I like to see that. And if I have one or the other, like, yeah, the probability that we keep going lower is high because we're trading lower pretty aggressively, but the risk versus reward of chasing it is not good. The risk versus reward of like trying to catch the absolute low might be high, but the win rate also might be very low, right? So it's a balance of both of those things in mind. A good setup bears both of those things in mind. Yeah, it's pretty bearish overall here. So you definitely want to be cautious trying to go long. I'm not saying I'm going long here, guys. I'm saying I'm watching to see what develops. If we form a bottom here, we consolidate, we see significant, I'm talking significant defense from buyers, and then we start, reversing and recapturing territory and stuff, that would be more interesting to me, right? Because we're coming into a higher time frame low that has bounced 1, 2, 3, 4 times over the last couple weeks. And when I say that, also, like, I'm looking for a strong reaction from buyers that allows me an opportunity to just scalp a piece of a long reversal, right? I'm not trying to be like, oh, I caught the low of the day, like it's reversing from here and we're going to all-time highs. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if I see a setup with a very strong reaction from buyers in this higher time frame area that we've bounced off of multiple times, then I may look to go long and scalp it, back up towards the middle of the range. But I'm not trying to catch the absolute bottom to the absolute top. I'm not trying to be a first buyer jumping in front of all this momentum to the downside. I'm just watching and observing what develops. And if I see something good, then I'll be interested. But I'm not interested in really chasing shorts to the downside. Here's some aggressive buying stepping in. I like that bid just defended there at the 63s. We dropped all the way down into the middle of that range that I talked about between 55 and 65. Starting to shift some structure here a little bit. And that bid defended at the 63s. It was kind of interesting. See, this guy pulled that order there. Wonder if we pop back down there, if it fills and slams with some aggressive buying. See the size of that buying that came in there? Pretty aggressive that we haven't seen so far yet. Pretty aggressive buying stepping in there. Now, we'll see if that is able to gain ground out of there or not. If we pull back in here and continue to see some aggressive buying, that bid kind of popped in again there. That bid kind of popped in again there. I like that kind of weaker selling, but we need to see more like serious aggressive buying. We'll see what happens here. There's starting to be some more aggressive buying, but it's still cooking. If we see large aggressive buying come into these highs that, you know, kind of continues to drive, you know, over these little highs here around 65, 66, then I kind of like that. All right, I'm in 67s. Just have a stop under like 65 where those sellers got trapped. I'd like to see this shoot back up into like the 75s to 80s. And go and break even pretty much immediately here. Give it a little breathing room, a couple ticks. It's got to go now. Some aggressive selling tried to come in there, still squeezing higher. Let's see. May not be ready. There's some aggressive buying coming in. All right, I'm going break even here at 67. I want to see this go now. I'm not going to hold this for a loss. It's up over 2R already, even on this little scalp. I'm just looking for a retest into these sellers from earlier. Again, just a quick little scalp. I like that aggressive buying. I'm gonna go half out there. It's 2R. I'm still break even on my second half. It's just a little scalp, guys. Again, I'm not trying to catch the absolute low of the day. I'm looking for an aggressive reaction from these buyers, retrace back up into like 75 to 80. I closed half when I saw this large aggressive buying here that didn't really drive price higher. I didn't love that. It's up 4 points on like a 2-point risk. So it was 2R and I saw this large aggressive buying come in and price just froze there. I didn't love that, so I took half off. I'm just looking for a quick shoot up into like 75 to 79. Point of controls up there. If this goes up here and breaks again, then I'm going to trail to my first target there above around 71s, which was 2R. Go. Go. Just a little bit away there. One more little pop. All right, I'm out. I don't like the weakness there. So it's about 5 points on a 2-point risk. So 2.5R, just a little baby scalp. So what I saw here was this really aggressive buying start to step in after we kind of trapped some sellers at the low of that range there. And again, I was just using it for a quick little scalp. We may keep shooting from here. I don't know. This may be the bottom. We're hitting a higher time frame demand, but I use this higher time frame demand area just to catch a quick little scalp 2R off the momentum from it. 2.5R, right? So we pulled down here. We trapped these sellers. We saw large aggressive buying come in here and here. I got in right here with a stop like right here. So I got in 67 with just a stop like right here at 65. See, I was viewing these sellers right here as trapped. And I was looking for a shot up into like 75s, the top of this low volume area. But seeing it slow down here, I took half off for 4 points and then almost 5 points on the another half there. So nothing crazy. It was about 2R, little scalp, just seeing that aggressive buying start to come in off that range. Yeah, nothing crazy. Now, to the flip side, could look to be a seller up here if this continues to reject where that little low volume node is, the same thing that I was looking for a target there off that momentum from buyers. That rejection kind of under 75 could be a continuation short. I wasn't really liking that to look to continue shorts into this key higher 4-hour demand. I was more looking for a more aggressive response from buyers. It kind of was not as aggressive. I was hoping we were just gonna, this was a planned 2R. I was hoping we were gonna shoot through it really fast and I would, take 3-4R off of it. We didn't. We kind of got there and faltered, so I just took the 2R. It was one of those ones where I was like, planned 2R, but if buyers come in super hot, cool, I'll take it for, 3, 4, 5R, and I'll just hold until the buying slows down and then I'll cut it. Right? But the buying slowed down right there at that 2R target. So I'm like, I'm not playing games here. It's been weak all day. I'll take the 2R. But one more time for those in the back. Again, this was a basically just a baby little 2R scalp off of this 4-hour demand area when I saw a strong reaction from aggressive buyers. But what I liked here is, one, we dipped into this low and again, location is important, right? Location is important. I've been talking about this area around 65 to 55. That is a key area, okay? We may get a bigger bounce from here now. We may get a bigger bounce. I was hoping to have a bigger, there it freaking goes. I was hoping to be in this for a bigger move right away, but it's getting late on a Friday. I'll just take the little 2R scalp and call it a day. It was about $450, $500, yeah, like $400. So whatever. So I saw this large aggressive buying. Let me screenshot it so I can draw what I'm showing here. I'm quick on the trigger today, guys. Man, took that little 2R. Here's the 75 target now. Just wasn't patient enough. It came a breath away from it, would have stopped me out again. But I was talking about this since we made this low here, right? We could see it on the order flow developing. So there's a 75 target that I really wanted to see us shoot straight into. It stalled here and that got me out. It stalled here and that got me out for 2R. It's all good. I'm quick on the trigger today, man. I'm not feeling these conditions too much. But we'll take the 2R. So what I saw here was, one, see how we were holding those lows until location is key. Remember, I've been talking about 65 to 55, that key area from the volume profiles, from supply and demand, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, then we saw the cumulative delta start to flip and a really large aggressive buyer started to come in. And the other thing was, look at this volume tail, right? See how we built up that selling at the lows and then we aggressively bought out of there. Do you see that? And then I let it pull back again. I could have just looked to long it here. It just wasn't the best confirmation and it would have been higher risk versus reward though. But again, it's balance of risk versus reward and confirmation to get the best probability. But once I saw this really aggressive buying come in again, let me zoom in on that. Right? Really aggressive buying again, trapping sellers here again. Those sellers failed and I could just see price starting to jump. I immediately went with it and my stop was just here, right? Like minuscule risk, just like barely a 2-point stop. And then basically, as soon as we shot up here, I just went break even with it, right? Because I'm basically saying, okay, a lot of momentum is just going to carry. We're just going to swing up into those 75s, take it for a quick little scalp. Unfortunately, again, I didn't capture it all, but it's okay. We did shoot up into the 75s. It just pulled back. It stalled and pulled back a little bit too much for me. But look at that. Ever since we saw that over here, If I had a little bit more patience today, I'd be in a lot bigger trade right now. But I'm a little impatient today. It's all good. The highest probability thing that I liked was around those 75s. But again, once we got a point or two away from there and buying just stalled, I just covered, right? Just a quick little easy money scalp. Make sense, guys? Now, I don't really like much in the middle of this range. We could continue, to look for failed pops to short, especially, you'd want to, sellers would probably want to defend down here now. That big seller probably would want to defend. If we recapture above them, good luck everybody that sold the lows. Starting to see some aggressive selling hit right there. See that? So we'll see if that got almost 1,000 lots just hit there, 930 lots. So see that? Right where aggressive selling was coming in before, he's coming in again. Now, does he have the juice to push this thing back down? We'll see. We're up here right near the point of control too, around 69.79. Tell you what though, we recapture above that guy and this thing could squeeze another leg higher. Undercapitalized today for sure, but it's all good. It's a Friday. Already had a nice big week, decent week, I guess. So caught a little scalp off the momentum at the bottom, that key higher time frame demand. Again, go back to rewatch the stream since the beginning. Been talking about that area around 65 to 55. I told you guys I wasn't really trying to catch like the absolute low of the day. If we do that, great. I was just looking to scalp it if I saw a lot of aggression from buyers come in there. And we did. So there it is. All right, guys. That's probably going to be a wrap for me on a Friday. I don't like to trade later into the day on a Friday, especially on a holiday weekend. Why am I all backwards? Is it a holiday weekend? I thought it was. I thought I had marked it. Let me look at my calendar. For some reason, I thought this was a holiday weekend. Yeah, it is a holiday weekend. Martin Luther King Day is on Monday. I'm not crazy. So, yeah, the later it gets into, a Friday, especially on a holiday weekend, the less I like to participate. Just personal rule of thumb. So thanks everybody for tuning in. I'll be back on Chart Fanatics next Friday. Fridays is my time. There's lots of other traders on here for you to tune in with as well. Hopefully you guys learned something about analysis, learned something about order flow, etc. That's my goal with this. And I will see you guys in the next one. See you guys.